Hi, welcome back to my channel Azure Learn. Today we are going to discuss about how do we assess web apps in minutes to migrate to Azure. You might be thinking, is that possible to assess my web app in minutes? Yes, it's possible. Now the next question is how? How do we assess web apps in minutes to migrate it to Azure? Yes, to migrate it to Azure App Service, we have a ready-made web tool that would be helpful for us to assess web applications which are on your premise, and to assess them that should have a public URL to start the scanning. What if you do not have your web app exposed to internet? Then it's a different approach. We would be downloading and installing the migration assistant tool and then start assessing and then migrating. So that's a different play altogether. Now we are considering how do we assess our web apps, are they ready to migrate to Azure App Service or not. Okay, so let's see it in action. appmigration.microsoft.com. This is the URL that you will have to come, and here you can assess your web app whether it's a right fit for Azure App Service or not. Now, in case if you do not know what is Azure App Service, you can think of it as a web server as a service. Instead of you maintaining the hardware and the OS in it and OS patching and many other associated tasks with it, all of them is going to be maintained by Microsoft. And you can see on right top corner, how do you migrate to Azure? I have discussed in detail in one of my previous videos, and you can go through that. Where we are trying to do an assessment just like that in minutes, in seconds in fact. So now you can assess any app with an endpoint scan. Only the thing that is required is it should be having a public URL. Okay, assuming that you have a website which is having a public URL and we are starting the endpoint scan. We already discussed, in case if you do not have the public URL for your web app, which is maybe on your premise and anywhere it is, but you do not have the public URL, then you would be downloading the migration assistant tool and then start assessing and migrating. Okay, so now provide a public URL to assess to start your migration process. Now let's do something. Let's take Microsoft, okay, Microsoft.com, or okay, Microsoft.com/India. Click on assess. Now you might be thinking, where is this tool available? Is this free of cost, or does it have any payment or something like that? Does it require any slot booking or something? Nothing is required. It's a simple, freely, publicly available web-based tool. You can access it by going to appmigration.microsoft.com. Okay, so you can assess your site, and just within fraction of seconds, what it said, it's saying that your site's framework and hosting model is fully supported for migrating over to Azure App Services. Start your migration process by downloading the migration assistant and following the steps to migrate your app. So this is post assessment. To migrate, you will have to download the migration assistant tool and then start. But anyway, the first step, the assessment is done. Now let us check the assessment results. It's saying the framework, what it is saying, one or more top Azure app web apps use this framework, so there is no problem. And it is saying that it's having an option, show more technologies detected for this site. For now it is under no. I would say yes, show it. Then I can go through and then get to know, okay, it's using HTML5 doc type, which is used by top Azure App Service site, and then open graph or DNS prefetch or meta description, whatever it is, all the components and the technologies or the frameworks or the feature sets that are used by this website, whether it's supported or not, or what is it coming under the category. It is under encoding category, it is showing UTF-8. And if you do not know any of this, what is this mean, what this feature or a set or a solution or what is this component is all about, you just hover your mouse here and then it would show you the tooltip. And now I could read that forces this one, HSTS forces browsers to only communicate with the site using HTTPS to make it in a secured mode. And P3P policy, if you do not know what is this, the privacy preferences project P3P, you can go through and then understand. So each of the component has been given a description and the last detected time and each and every piece of detail what is there present in that website right now. And now it's saying COVID-19, there is a widget, and this widget is not used by app service sites. Okay, so maybe this could be some other API or some other link, or from maybe from WHO they might have got an API and then put it here in their website, something like that. Okay, so these widgets and all we can again have as a part of the website. It need not to be that Azure App Service is maintaining that. So I guess you understand what I'm trying to say. So all the components that are required for you to manage this website in Azure App Service, all are fit. That's what it's saying. It said in the beginning, you can see that your site's framework and hosting model is fully supported for migrating over to Azure App Services. Okay, let's check now github.com. github.com. As you all might be knowing that GitHub, recently Microsoft acquired this company. Earlier it was a different entity and it was one of the expensive acquisitions that Microsoft did in the recent past. Okay, so github.com, now it's saying that your site's framework and hosting model is fully supported for migrating over to Azure App Services. Let's check now what are all the frameworks and components or anything that is used in this. It's saying that Ruby on Rails token, and it's showing rest of all the components, DNS prefetch, cascading style sheets, JavaScript, microdata, and many other things that we have seen. The viewport meta, it's saying that the page uses the viewport meta tag, which means the content may be optimized for mobile content, and here iPhone mobile content compatible, yes. So that information, everything, every piece of information that's used as part of this website is shown to you. Okay, and given you the information, what is this is going to be used by the top app service site or some other component is there. So that kind of information. Let's check now maybe visualstudio.com. Let's check visualstudio.com. Okay, so now this is also saying that it's fully supported for migrating over to Azure App Service. This is a ASP.NET 4.0 and you can see a lot of content related to PHP, and too much of content is there. You can see that what and all been Akamai hosted. Okay, so this is for CDN, and here visualstudio.com is using, as most of you might be knowing, that Azure CDN, Akamai is integrated with Azure CDN. You have the content delivery network available, services available in Azure, and Akamai is completely integrated into it. And this is a You see this is an ASP.NET 4.0 site with ASP.NET MVC framework, and the web server in this is IIS 8, and Apache is also there for some engines. Too much of content is there. You can go through what are all the components, the web servers used in this, right? All of them, it says that. So for Apache, what is it written? Azure App Service supports migration for this web server model. So this is a web server model. And Nginx, this is another web server model. This also says that Azure App Service supports migration for this web server model. And Citrix NetScaler, application request routing, IIS 8, yes, internet based services for servers using Microsoft Windows. Azure App Services supports migration for this web server model. So like this, you can see all the technologies detected for this site, and which are supported, which are not supported. All that information would be given here. So that's simple, and within fraction of seconds you can assess your site to get a detailed report of all the technologies used and whether they can be hosted on app service or not. The assessment starts by simply providing a public endpoint which is scanned to provide a detailed list of technologies, which are then compared to other sites hosted on app service to generate a uniquely accurate assessment report for all your sites. Okay, so I hope this session was helpful in getting to know about the app service migration assessment tool, which is a freely publicly available web-based simple tool, helps you to assess your website within fraction of seconds. And if you have liked this video, please do share and click on like, and please do subscribe also to stay tuned for my upcoming videos on many other aspects of Azure. Thank you, good day, bye bye.